Hey everyone, Coty here, and today I want to answer some questions that I've gotten on my Streams of Mercy painting video. That is actually my video with the most views on my channel, and I'm still getting questions about this painting even though it's like over 3 years ago and I don't even paint. But that doesn't mean that people aren't still finding it and then asking questions in the comment section. So I'm going to make this video as a kind of a response video to the questions and the comments I'm still getting on this video to hopefully maybe help people who are looking to do this kind of painting. And Streams of Mercy is actually one of my favorite paintings that I did. It actually turned out pretty cool, and but I'll go over kind of the comments and questions I've gotten on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over and you can see the comments and stuff as I go through it. But also I'm going to play the video so you have something to watch in the meantime. So let's switch over and then we'll kind of go through some of these comments and questions, hopefully so that I can help people who are looking to do this kind of painting, or just abstract painting in general, especially if they're looking to use gloss enamel, which is a very unique type of paint to use. So let's switch over and we'll go over it. Okay. So as you can see, I've got the comments here, and I've got the actual video here. So I want to play the video. So if you just want to watch something in the meantime, I'm going to have that video playing. So let's go over it. All right, love it. I appreciate that. All right, excellent paint as usual. Thanks for sharing. Hopefully to see a new video from you soon. This was 2 months ago. I have posted videos, but they're not painting videos, which people don't really like my poetry videos, which is fine. I understand it. You guys came for abstract painting and I don't do that anymore. So I apologize. All right, different method. Appreciate that. It might be helpful to screw down the canvas to hold the canvas in place while firmly pulling the trowel. So yes, and I learned this after this video. Again, this video is like almost 4 years ago, I think, but it's over 3 years ago. That is something that I did do. So so here's what I did. This table that you see in the video, I actually put screws into it after this painting. So I screwed some screws into the table so that the top of the screw was sticking up probably a ½ inch or so. And I did it in different points of the table, but mostly at the end and kind of in the middle. So that way I could put a canvas down and then kind of pull the canvas against the screws. And then when I scraped, I would scrape against the direction that the screws held it in place, if that makes sense. So for instance, you should be able to see my cursor. So I would put a screw here at the top. Like I would put like 1 or 2 screws at the top in the table underneath, and then like maybe one down here on the end, so that when I scraped, I was scraping against those screws so that the painting didn't move. So I actually did do this just after this video had already come out. But that is actually a really helpful, I guess, tip for people who are looking to do like scrape paintings and the canvas is moving. If you can, maybe put a couple of screws or anchors or something into the table or the surface that you're painting on to keep that painting in place so it doesn't slide around. So that's actually that's a great point. I appreciate that. Okay, I love this whole effect. Can it be done with acrylic paint? I want to try it out anyway. Yes. So you can do this with acrylic paint. You can do scrape paintings with acrylic paint. I think I did do them. The difference is that because the gloss enamel is so viscostic, it's so liquidy, the liquid of the paint basically allows it to just kind of glide, but also, not only that, it spreads out because it's so wet. So it just kind of puddles. So it covers more surface area. But you can do it with acrylic paint. The thing with acrylic paint is because it's a little thicker, when you scrape it, it doesn't spread out as much. It doesn't cover like as much area, so to speak. But you definitely can do it with acrylic paint. The thing to keep in mind is that you should not over scrape, whether you're using oil, gloss enamel, acrylic, doesn't matter. If you over scrape, that's when you start to get those muddy colors. And if you're kind of going the Gerhard Richter approach, basically he just scrapes one time and then he puts like a new color on, and then he scrapes one time and he scrapes it really thin. I mean, he scrapes that thing super hard. So just keep that in mind, not to overscrape. That is the one thing that I kept doing over and over and over again over the course of my painting career, if you will. that I just did not learn that lesson, but thank you. Your work is a masterpiece. Yeah, it's not that great. I don't think so, but people have said that about my driveway too, and I regret it, to be honest. I actually regret painting, being so careless with how I painted on the driveway, because it actually created a lot of, there's just paint all over my driveway. And yeah, I can probably use like a water pressure, like a pressure washer to get it off, but I haven't gotten it off, and I regret it, to be honest. I hate that there's paint all over my driveway, because it almost makes my house look tacky. So I thought it was cool at the time, but that's just something to keep in mind, that you may like it now, but that doesn't mean you'll like it later on, right? So I wouldn't care if it was just in the garage or on the table, but it being in the driveway, it gets noticed, and sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. The city hates it, so but I appreciate that. I don't know what that means. Do I use oil or acrylic? So I don't use either. I use gloss enamel, and the gloss enamel is a paint that I get from a paint store, and the gloss enamel is water-based. Now, there is oil-based house paint, basically gloss enamel, that you can get. It is harder to get, at least for me it was harder to get. It might be in other countries or something easier to get, but in the US a lot of the paint is water based, so mine was water based. So if I wanted to thin it down, I would just add a little bit of water. All right, looks good, thank you. I don't know what that is, sorry. A bump in the, yeah. Well, I appreciate that. It's not for everyone. So if you don't like it, then that's fine. I can live with it. Appreciate it. Mixed. Okay. What are the paints mixed with? Nothing that I know of. I honestly don't remember. I mean, this was years ago. But most of the time when I painted with the gloss enamel, I didn't add anything to it. Maybe I would thin it just a little with water, but that is what it is. No rules for art. Do what you like. This is it's a kind of ironic that this is up here, because I talk about this in my videos where I got to the point with the painting where I was just making painting videos based on what people were asking for or asking questions about. And it wasn't about what I wanted to make. And there was, certain techniques that I liked that I would do videos for, and people just did not watch those videos. They only watched, ones like this that was similar to this other person's, technique, if you will. But for me, it kind of became about, when you have a YouTube channel, you obviously want to get views. So you have to play this kind of mental tug of war of, do I do the stuff that gets views, or do I do the stuff that just makes me happy? And I get it. I think this is a big part of where burnout comes from for a lot of creators, because they kind of get stuck in this dichotomy. I guess I don't know if that's the right word, maybe paradox, whatever. But they kind of get stuck in that place of, should I make stuff that people like, or should I make stuff that I like? And the stuff that you like may not get views, but the stuff they like may not be something you want to do. Ultimately, in a perfect world, you would only make content that you like. But as proof of this, when I started posting my poetry stuff on this channel, the poetry stuff gets like no views compared to my painting stuff. So that really illustrates the point that you can make what you like. That doesn't mean anybody else is going to like it. So that's just kind of where we're at. All right. Are you using oils or acrylics? I already mentioned that. It is water-based gloss enamel. Come from a different understanding of abstract. Okay, so let's kind of break this down, actually, because I'm going to be honest. Yes. Okay, so you can read this comment if you want. I'm not going to read the whole thing. But essentially, they're saying they're trying to understand abstract art, even though they think it's not great. Here's the thing. I have changed my stance on what I believe about abstract art. When I was creating it, I defended almost all abstract art, saying, you know what, you just, the artist was trying to do this one thing, right? And you just don't get it. It was almost a place of pretension. And nowadays, having made hundreds of pieces and telling people they like those pieces, even if I hated it, I'm like, you know what? It's just paint. You know what I mean? It's not like I went through and spent hours and hours on this piece. Even this one right here in this video, I really like this piece. It looked very cool. But this video is about 20 something minutes long. It's not even a half hour long, and you see the entire painting from beginning to end. So what does that say about the quality? Now, you can like the painting. We can all have our subjective taste. I really like this painting, but we both know it didn't take me more than 20 so minutes to make it. So the problem with a lot of abstract art is it's not great. There's just not a lot of effort put into it. And the problem with this is that we all kind of hype it up like it's some great thing, but a lot of it just is not good. And there is a lot of criticism towards abstract and modern art for valid reasons. A lot of it's not great, but because there's this like pretentious attitude in the art world, it's like you almost have to believe that it's great even though it really isn't. It's almost like the emperor's clothes, right? Because everybody else says it's great, you have to believe it's great. But a lot of abstract art that I've seen is not great. People have sent me their art after I painted for so long, and a lot of it's not good. And I don't mean that in any mean way. It's just they think it's good, and there's a lot of pieces that I thought were good that other people hated, or vice versa. I thought they were trash and other people loved it. So you can have a subjective taste, but a lot of it objectively, quality-wise, just is not great. So, I like I said, I've kind of changed my stance. I don't like a lot of the abstract art that's out there now. And heck, I didn't even like a lot of the stuff I did. So, just to be fair, I don't know what that is. So really enjoyed it. Appreciate it. Super appreciate it. Really love it. But a lot more thinking process. Okay, so there was times when I would have thought I loved it and stopped, but you kept going. There's a danger in that. So I've talked about this in my videos, that there are times where a painting actually looks very cool and I should have stopped, and then I didn't. So you kind of take this gamble, and this kind of plays into the abstract art thing, because you have these paintings that, you think if I just add a little bit more, just a little bit more, just a little bit more, and you go in, you add it, and then it looks like crap because you added that extra layer or whatever, or you scraped it another time. So this is kind of the gambit that you run when you do abstract art, especially scraped or whatever, because you never know when to stop. And if you don't have a structure or a form or something you're specifically going for in the beginning, that's the problem. So if you're just kind of throwing paint on a canvas and hoping it creates something, a lot of the times I found that most of those pieces were garbage because I never knew when to stop. And I would think, okay, if I just add one more layer, it'll get better, and it doesn't. Now, sometimes it did, and sometimes I had some really cool pieces that, just that one extra layer really kind of made it look very cool. It made it pop or whatever. But a lot of times I added that one extra layer and it looked like garbage. So it really just kind of comes down to the effect that you're trying to create with the painting. So, all right. Gorgeous. Appreciate it. Just found your channel and your work interesting. Oh, that was 2 years ago. Yeah, appreciate it. Awful. Okay. I mean, that's fair. Yeah. Everybody has their opinion. You can be proud. I appreciate it. Just discovered it. Gerhard Richter. Okay. Yeah, I really like Gerhard Richter, if you don't know. He's a huge influence to me. Pollock kind of was the reason I started doing abstract painting, but Gerhard Richter is probably my favorite abstract artist. You look at his paintings and they are simple, but there's a lot of layers and complexity to some of these paintings that he's done. And, he's just been painting for so long, and he's very successful at making these paintings. And he's even come out and said that most of his stuff isn't even great. Like, he disagrees with most modern and abstract art. So, for someone who's made their entire fortune basically on abstract art, for him to come out and say a lot of it's garbage, like, maybe respect him even more. So I appreciate it. All right. Beautiful. Appreciate it. I don't know what that says. I could probably translate. Love the background more. Yeah. So a strong background can help the painting, especially with scrape paintings, regardless of whether you're doing oil, acrylic, or gloss enamel. If you're doing these paintings, I've learned that you want to do a background. So when I did a lot of them, I just kind of got the paint on there and started scraping. But then if there's any, gaps in the paint, then you will see the bare canvas. And unless you were trying to go for that, it actually looks bad, and you have to go back and try to fill in those gaps with paint. So I recommend that if you do any scrape paintings, go ahead and, paint the background first. I love your pants. Yeah, those pants. Okay, so the paint on those pants is so thick in some of those areas on those shorts that you literally could like tap it, and it would make like that plastic noise because of that. So thanks. Background is masterpiece. I assume the initial part I painted is what they're talking about. Think I enjoy looking at the tiny nuances. Okay, that's one fair point for abstract art that I think you can say in defense of abstract art, but more so for the Pollock style paintings, because when you look at a Pollock style painting, there's so many, layers and splashes and dots and lines and all these things that you can't just look at a Pollock style painting and remember exactly what it looks like, because there's so much complexity. And that's one of the things, like I have this painting above my, my desk, the Monochromatic Dream, that I really love this painting. And every time I look at it, I notice different things every time, and it's been there for a long time. And the painting is years old. So, that's one of the things that I enjoy about it. So I think that, I appreciate that they say that, because you can stare at, these paintings with so many different layers and find different things every time. So, it's really good. Fantastic result. Appreciate it. Thank you. I will use only my oldest clothes. Yeah, for sure. Especially using gloss enamel, it destroys clothes, walls, any surface it ever touches. You can see my wall in this video. I'm kind of pointing with the cursor, but yeah, there's paint all over the wall. That wall had to be repainted, so it's not great. It is hard to get off the concrete. It will destroy your clothes. So yes, you always want to be in an area that you can use that paint and not worry about it. Gorgeous, appreciate it, fantastic, great. You get the suction from laying the trowel flat. Yes, this is actually a great point. So they're right. So the suction from the trowel does come from it being flat, and you can kind of tilt it and pull it back. The problem with that is the effect is different. So if I just put the trowel like at an angle and angle it backwards, it pushes the paint out to the sides, right? I mean, it's like if I put it down and then just pull it back through that, then all of it oozes out around it. But if I put it down and put it straight down and then scrape it back, because of the suction, it forces the paint to kind of adhere to the surface, and then you scrape it back, and the paint has no choice but to go along the canvas, if that makes sense. So I'm assuming that Gerhard Richter, when he does his paintings, I've seen him scrape them, and it is flat when he puts it on there, and he pulls it straight back. So I'm assuming that it is a flat surface that he uses, and he just kind of powers through it. But he also uses oil, which is not as runny as, say, gloss enamel. If humanity needs this, they need syphilis. That's fine. I appreciate somebody defending me. It's okay if they don't agree. I'm not going to read all these comments because it doesn't matter. And then whatever that is. It's funny because this guy is like, he's upset and all of these other things. And I really appreciate people defending me. Again, this was 2 years ago, so it's kind of over with, right? But I guess I'll kind of leave it at that, because that was the end of the comment section for this video. Ultimately, this was one of my favorite paintings that I ever did. And I ended up giving it away to someone because they didn't have any of my art. I was kind of going through this purge phase after I painted that I just didn't want any more of the art that I had. I think I gave it away to someone in my family. But anyway, it's bittersweet, right? I still have paintings in my house, but after painting, I kind of lost my love for a lot of it. And because I can't paint anymore, I don't have the space with the kids kind of rearranging in the house. And, giving a lot of my supplies away. I can't paint anymore. But essentially, that's pretty much it. If you have any questions about the painting, if you just found my channel and you have questions about, the paintings or the painting process or any of my specific paintings that you've seen in my videos, go ahead and leave a comment. I'm thinking about doing some more videos like this where I answer questions based on what people are saying or asking, because even though I can't paint anymore and I don't paint anymore, if this is what people are still finding the channel for, is the painting stuff. So, I want to provide that feedback and stuff if I can. So if you have any questions, you can leave them on this video, and I will try to go through the comments in a couple weeks and, try to go back and answer any other questions you guys have about, the process, the paints, a specific painting. You can just kind of tell me which one it was and I'll try to answer that. And that's pretty much it. But I just wanted to go through and kind of answer some questions. And if you have any other, comments or questions or anything, just let me know in the comment section and I will try to help you guys out. But that's pretty much it. I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.